Voice of Africa TV. Today we have a very special, well, two very special guests with us. The first name is Mr. Fraser Lang. He is the CEO of the Scottish African Business Association. And then we have Mr. James Crawford, who is the Managing Director of KURO and a board member of SABA. Thank you guys for coming on our platform today.
Pleasure. Thanks for having us.
Sure.
Yeah, you're very welcome.
Sure. So can you please tell us a little bit about your company, James? KURO.
Yeah, so KURO is a business consultancy that looks at a number of things, from business growth to strategies to marketing and comms to competency management, event management, so quite varied. Mm-hmm. And we do that across a number of sectors, so energy predominantly, but also do private sector. We've done the third sector, which is charities. So get involved in really anything where we feel we can get involved and help companies develop their business. And an awful lot of the focus of that has been helping companies move into the Africa region, where there's great opportunities for partnerships and alliances to develop business and for companies to grow and to help, I guess, indigenous African companies grow as well.
Right. Yeah, thank you for touching on that. How about you, Fraser? Can you please touch on SABA?
Yeah. So I mean, the Scottish Africa Business Association, we were set up really in response to, I guess, a kind of sort of fundamental belief that there should be more partnerships between Scottish and African countries and companies. There's a lot of historical ties. There's a lot of, I guess, for want of a better word, emotional ties between Scotland and Africa. And also, I mean, a lot of the leading business people, a lot of people in government in Africa have also been educated in Scotland, particularly in the energy sector that James is involved with. So we just feel there should be more, and for various reasons there isn't. So we're trying to, I guess, bridge the gap between Scottish industry and education and universities, etc., and Africa, and across sectors, just to encourage that backwards and forwards, that dialogue, that engagement. So that's what we're here to do.
Yeah, that's very interesting. You talked about bridging the gap, because you just start a new series called the Africa Energy Series. Can you, please touch on exactly what you set out to do with it and what it's about as well?
Yeah, I mean, James is better to speak about energy than me, but I mean, again, this kind of fundamental reason for that was that Scotland has a fantastic history in the energy sector, from oil and gas and now into renewables as well. And really, with, I guess, a lot of countries in Africa at the beginning of their oil and gas or renewable journey, there's a lot of learning that can flow between Scotland and them, not make the same mistakes that we've made, not make historically make those same mistakes. So again, for that reason, I think there should be more Scottish companies within the energy sector in Africa forming these partnerships.
Right. Yeah.
Yeah, I can maybe just add to that and say, one of the things that we're really interested in is how do we develop national and local content, right, and how do we work with again, African companies to help move that forward, and governments and local government and national government to move that forward. And as Fraser rightly said a second ago, we've made loads of errors in the way that we've gone about doing it at times, but we've been through the same journey. Back in the early 70s, our energy sector was full of expatriate staff, and we've had to go through the journey of developing local content, developing local supply chain. So we know the journey, and we know what it takes to do it. And actually, we're really keen to make sure that it happens quicker in Africa than it happened in Scotland.
Right. Yeah, for sure. I definitely agree with you. I commend you as well for, starting the series. What opportunities are you seeing can be gained by, the Africa Energy Series in the energy sector in Africa?
Great question. There's numerous different opportunities we see. We think there's, as Fraser rightly said, there's still emerging markets within the African continent. There's some very well established markets, but there's some that are still emerging. And I think there's the opportunity to look for partnerships where we can get knowledge transfer and we can bring in expertise. And then I think the other big part of it is education. It's skills development, training, competency management. That's absolutely vital in the sector, not something you can ignore at any stage. So I think we can bring all of that. Plus, Scotland wants to be active in the sector. We like being active in the sector. We actually, as Fraser rightly said, we've got an emotional attachment with the continent. And I think when you talk to companies about it, there's an excitement about the fact that you can go and look at places I've not been to before. And that actually helps develop younger Scottish engineers and technicians, who want to travel, who want to see the world, but also who want to impass the skills that they've learned.
Yeah. I'd also add to that as well. That other comparisons is a lot of Scotland's economy is based on SMEs, and in a lot of the countries that we're working with, it's the same. It's the SMEs that are going to really drive the growth. So if we can get the SMEs from Scotland and the SMEs from wherever it is in Africa talking, engaging, looking at these partnerships and looking at these joint ventures, it's a win for both sides. And again, we might touch on it later, but for James and I, that's really important, that it's not a one-way flow. It has to be a two-way flow for this to really work properly.
Right. And you talked about, getting these SMEs. What kind of, challenges can, these companies in Africa expect to hear about that they could potentially, gain from the Africa Energy Series?
So for a lot of them, they just don't have the experience because the sector's brand new. So bringing the experience and explaining how you train and develop people, explaining to them how and it's not just technical roles and engineering roles, but management roles and doing that as well, about looking at how you build out supply chain. So to give you an example, we had a contract with a previous company I was with in a new country for oil and gas, and we put people in to work with the indigenous supply chain so that, for example, PPE wasn't being imported from Europe, it was getting made in country. So there's lots of great things like that we can bring to the table to help companies develop capacity and capability.
Right.
Yeah, and I think as well with the energy series, I think what we're trying to do is show Scottish companies that there are viable partners in country. We're always saying if you want to do business in Africa, we're really important. There's lots of important factors, but one of the big ones is you need to have a local partner, or it will make life a lot easier if you've got a local partner. So I guess that's part of what we're trying to do with this as well.
Well, yeah, thank you guys very much for coming on our platform again and then educating the masses on the energy sector and what SABA and KURO are doing in Africa. I want to commend you guys for what you're doing as well, and hopefully we can continue to work together in the future.
Well, thanks for your time. And good questions, by the way. So thank you.
Thank you.
Yeah, really, really good questions, and it's great to be involved with the Voice of Africa. I think it's a brilliant organisation. So well done on that as well.
Yeah, and it'll be interesting to see where we can take the journey as we go forward.
Exactly. All right, guys.